I always wanted to be a mom, to have that taken away in some regard, but then to get it back through a very long journey, and then to be here where I'm at today with my boys is really magical. I'm Ginny Marable, and this is my Cervivor story. Before I had cervical cancer, I think I put everyone else, especially my work, first, rather than prioritizing myself or my health. Worst case scenario happened. I was treated for an overactive bladder by 2 different urologists. Finally, the second urologist said, I think you need to go see a gynecologist. The gynecologist took me seriously and did a PAP right away. And I got the call on a Monday while I was in my office at work to inform me that I had cervical cancer. It was kind of a no-brainer when the doctor was like, if you want to preserve your fertility, we have enough time. Let's send you over to the fertility clinic first, and then we'll start treatment. I was prepared to do a radical hysterectomy because the tumor was big and complicated, surgical procedure ahead, but there was a small chance that I was gonna have to do ovary transposition surgery. So that's when they move your ovaries out of the radiation zone. But that was like a very small chance that was gonna be the treatment plan. I was told I would probably wake up around 11 that morning, and it was like 1:30 or 2 when I looked at the clock. So I was like, whoa, something didn't go right in the operating room, and I have no answers. I sat just waiting in pain for them to tell me what was going on. 2 hours later or something, my doctor came in and told me that they switched the procedure and did the ovary transposition surgery to, again, prevent me from going into early menopause, and also to take the ovaries out of the way of radiation. Then I met with a radiologist and figured out that I would need 30 rounds of radiation, and then I was gonna have to go back under and have the hysterectomy once the tumor was shrunk. Halfway through chemo, I had to switch the type of chemo that I was receiving because I was having a rare side effect of having ringing in my ears. Then I had to go see an audiologist to make sure I didn't have any loss of hearing during chemo. Additionally, the radiation had gotten so bad. I could hardly go to the bathroom. It was so painful. It basically felt like a sunburn on my vagina, the worst sunburn you could ever have. 2 months after surgery, 3 months after radiation, we discovered that my vagina had sealed up completely, and that intercourse was no longer an option for us as it existed, which was super traumatizing. It was super painful for me, and then traumatizing for Sean to see me in pain. A few months later, I got the job in Portland because I was finally matched with an excellent care team that cared about me as a person and meeting me where I was at. At that point, then I was like 31, 32, and wanted to figure out when or how we could start our family, and also when or how we could get our sex life back. Despite really dedicated pelvic floor physical therapy, there was just so much nerve damage, and that ultimately they decided that I would need to have vaginal reconstructive surgery. So it was another roller coaster journey. Meanwhile, we were getting serious about starting our family and finding a surrogate and starting that process. Kind of had both of those things going on at the same time, and then the pandemic hit. And so that's when I kind of was like, I think I need a little bit more support figuring out this cervical cancer stuff, because the journey to parenthood is pretty heavy. And then this whole vaginal reconstructive surgery is super isolating because it's not something you want to talk about. And at that point, I think is when I leaned in and found Cervivor. It definitely helped us kind of stay connected to what was a really isolating experience. So beginning of April 2020, 2 weeks in, we get matched with our surrogate. And I attend my first virtual coffee session with Cervivor, and I joined as sort of like hoping to be in the background and like not have to participate. And I think Tamika pulled me right on camera and made me introduce myself to everyone, and you know, I immediately felt warmly welcomed and like I had found like a really great network of women that I could lean on and just be totally honest with. Being a survivor means finding your inner strength and your inner voice and being comfortable with putting yourself out there to an extent, but knowing that there's a very supportive community that will embrace you and help you navigate your journey in your darkest times, like not giving up, that there will be some really bright moments in your future, and trusting that you will get through it and finding your inner strength along the way. But I always say the sun will come out again. I've reprioritized the things that I've got going on in my life so that I don't take early meetings, so I can see them first thing in the morning. And I do make a point of being home every night to tuck them in at night, because those are moments I'm not going to get back. So I do my best to just appreciate it and be in the moment as much as I can, because it's pretty awesome.